Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS. Let's get to the news. When you think about the Cleveland Browns, especially at this point in the season, the focus naturally shifts to what the future holds. The buzz around the league right now is centered on the possibility of some seismic shifts, particularly when it comes to one of the Browns' most impactful players, Myles Garrett. It's a topic that has fans on edge, and for good reason. Despite the team's clear stance that no trade involving Garrett is imminent, rumors and reports suggest that some of the biggest players in the league might be willing to make a deal that could reshape the division and the franchise's trajectory for years to come. Now, make no mistake, the Browns are not actively shopping Garrett. That's been made crystal clear. The organization values him immensely, both for his on-field dominance and his leadership presence. But as we look ahead to the offseason, and with the trade deadline already passed, the league's whispers hint at the possibility of some jaw-dropping offers that might force Cleveland's hand. Not necessarily because they want to trade him, but because the offers could be just too good to ignore if the right team comes knocking. One of the most eye-catching proposals floating around involves the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that's been trying to find consistency on defense after a spectacular start to 2024. According to Bleacher Report's Alex Kay, there's a scenario where Cleveland could be looking at 3 first-round picks in the future, specifically in 2026, 2027, and 2029, in exchange for Garrett. That's a pretty staggering haul, and it's not just speculation. It's rooted in what sources like Yahoo Sports, Charles Robinson, have reported. Robinson mentioned that the Eagles were willing to part with as many as 3 first-round picks for Garrett during the trade deadline, which shows how highly they value a game-changing pass rusher like him. Philly's defense has been a mixed bag this season. They started the year as the league's top total defense, but they've slipped to middle of the pack now. They're also not generating the same kind of pressure they did earlier in the year, with just 21 sacks through the first 10 games. That's well below their previous standards, and it's clear they're looking for a spark. If they continue to struggle and miss out on the playoffs early, adding a player like Garrett could give them that edge needed to return to the top of the NFC and make a serious run in 2026. But why would Cleveland consider this? Well, for starters, Cleveland's front office has been aggressive in building a young core. They've already drafted 7 rookies in 2025, with 5 of those rookies earning starting roles early in the season. The team is in the middle of a promising rebuild, and accumulating multiple first-round picks gives them a chance to land a franchise quarterback in a draft class that's shaping up to be much stronger than the one in 2025. Cleveland already owns 2 first-round picks in 2026, their own and one from the Jaguars via trade. So adding a third would position them perfectly to target a top-tier QB prospect, something they desperately need to secure their future at the position. Talking about quarterbacks, Cleveland's options are a bit underwhelming right now. Dillon Gabriel, the team's current starter, has started 6 games and hasn't quite lived up to expectations. Shedeur Sanders, who stepped in during the second half of the recent game against the Ravens, looked promising but ultimately struggled with the added pressure. That's not unusual for a rookie, but it underscores the fact that Cleveland needs to find stability at the quarterback position sooner rather than later. The 2026 draft could be the perfect opportunity to do just that, especially with 3 first-round picks at their disposal. Now, let's talk about Garrett himself. The big question is, does it make sense to flip him at this point? Garrett is approaching his 30th birthday and recently signed a massive extension worth around $160 million, which keeps him under contract through 2030. On paper, Garrett is a surefire Hall of Fame player, a game wrecker who can take over games on his own. But from Cleveland's perspective, his timeline doesn't quite fit with their long-term plans. The Browns are still trying to contend in the near future, and even if they find a rookie quarterback next year, the earliest realistic window for contention might be 2027, once Deshaun Watson's hefty contract is off the books. and the young quarterbacks from 2025 and 2026 have gained valuable experience. It's worth looking at the broader NFL landscape to understand this potential move. The Washington Commanders made a splash last season with Jayden Daniels, but this year, they've struggled to sustain that success. On the other hand, the New England Patriots seem to have built a more sustainable, younger roster around their second-year quarterback, Drake May, which has given them some staying power. Cleveland, with the right deal, could follow a similar path, transforming Garrett into multiple high-value picks and using those picks to retool their roster with young talent and rookie contracts. Imagine turning Garrett's value into 3 first-round picks in his early 20s, all on rookie deals, and then using his hefty salary to fill out the rest of the roster in free agency. That kind of strategic move would give Cleveland a massive advantage, especially if they can draft a quarterback with one of those picks and develop him into the franchise signal caller they desperately need. Of course, the Browns' front office will have to weigh the immediate impact of trading Garrett against the long-term benefits. As talented as Garrett is, the timeline for a Super Bowl window might be better served by a long-term rebuild that includes drafting a franchise quarterback and building around youth and flexibility. And with the division as competitive as it is, especially with teams like the Ravens and Bengals always lurking, Cleveland has to think strategically about their next move. This potential trade also raises questions about how the Browns will approach the rest of the season. With Garrett remaining a key part of their defense, the team's focus will likely be on competing for a playoff spot. But all eyes are on the future now, and the possibility of acquiring multiple first-round picks could change the team's entire approach in the offseason. Cleveland might even look at this as an opportunity to accelerate their rebuild, especially if they can land a top quarterback in next year's draft. The team has been steadily improving this season, and a trade like this could be the next big step in their evolution. In the end, Cleveland fans should be excited, but also cautious. The NFL is a league where big moves happen all the time, and sometimes they pay off big and other times they set teams back. But one thing is certain, the Browns are not standing still. They're looking ahead, planning their future and trying to position themselves for long-term success. Whether or not Garrett stays or goes, the team's direction seems clear. They want to be contenders, and they're willing to make bold moves to get there. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cleveland Browns. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news.